Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 25. So last episode, if you did not catch it, we took on the Minnesota Wild in the first round of the playoffs, and we managed to beat them, which is a nice thing to see. Obviously, we are a great team during the regular season, so for us to have some playoff success as well is nice to see as well. So we lost the first game in overtime 5-4, so I wasn't really too sure exactly what to expect going forward, but we did win 4 straight games with a 4-2 victory, a 4-3 victory, a 2-0 victory, and a 3-2 victory. So it was kind of a close series despite us winning in 5 games. Like the goals for and goals against and stuff like that was all pretty close in most of those games. So this next round against Nashville is definitely going to be posing a bit of a problem because the Nashville Predators were a really good team during the season. I definitely think it's going to be a lot closer than the last round for sure, just because the Nashville Predators are a pretty damn solid defensive team. So if we're not able to find our goal scoring ability like we did in like the first round, we didn't score a crazy ton of goals. If we aren't winning games by more than 2 goals, we're going to end up losing games quite easily, I think, because I think if we have kind of like closer games, kind of like 2-1 scores and stuff like that, that kind of falls into Nashville's hands a bit, and maybe Nashville outplays us in that sense. So a little bit scared for this round, but I think it should be still a good one. I definitely could see it going into 7 games, so we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. One thing I want to let you guys know before we actually get into this round and also get into the comments is also, you guys saw that my 2010 roster build is officially out. There will be a link to a straw poll likely in the description and as the pinned comment in the comments. So you guys can go vote on our next series. There'll also probably be a community post about it or something like that, but basically once this series ends, I will be doing a throwback 2010 franchise mode with whatever team you choose, so go vote on that. And yeah, hopefully once the series ends, we have kind of like a designated team already, so that way we could basically flip from this series right into a new one. So just a little heads up on that. But anyways, before we get into this first round of the playoffs with the Nashville Predators now, let's get in you guys' comments, and then we'll show you guys their lines again just in case you forgot, because to be honest, I kind of forget a bit. I do remember some of the players, but I want to go through it a little bit again just to refresh myself. Let's get in you guys' comments, see what you guys have to say, and then we'll get into all that. So the first comment is from Garage TV, who says, overall made it to the second round with some celebration and stuff. And yeah, it's nice to see actually a good team from the regular season do well in the playoffs in the first round, because obviously our New York Islanders franchise mode, if you guys watched that series as well, we were just eliminated in the first round by the Boston Bruins despite having a really good season. Boston was a cheese team completely and destroyed us. So for us to actually be out of the first round is nice to see for the Albuquerque Aliens. Hopefully they continue to go on a good run. But like I said, Nashville is probably going to be posing a bit of a threat. And the last and final comment is from Sound Talk, who says, that series was closer than the final scores and numbers of games indicated, but you got through. While going the game amount of games with Nashville would be ideal, I wouldn't be surprised to see it go to distance. And yeah, definitely that was the case in the first round, like I was just mentioning. And then also this round with Nashville, definitely it could go to 7 games. Hopefully it goes less than 7 games for us in a sense, but I feel like it definitely could go to 7 games just based on the fact that both these teams are pretty similar teams in terms of like the regular season statistics, I think it was, because you look at like us, for instance, we were way better offensively, but look at the defensive results. They had 2.59 goals against per game. We were 2.56. So both of us very strong in terms of defensive play. We obviously had a better power play, or they actually had a better power play despite having the worst offense, which is kind of surprising. So we were better 5-on-5 in that way. But we both had identical penalty kills as well. So our penalty kills are both pretty similar. Our goals against in general is pretty similar. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see what ends up happening in the postseason between us. Now, in terms of their lineup, like I said, it is definitely a strong lineup. We did play them a few years ago in the postseason. I feel like it was the first round that we played against them, but you could definitely see they have some really good pieces on this top line, like Boudreau, obviously Holton, the franchise guys who we need to contain the most. This guy is a good player. He's just starting to come into his own a bit because he's not super well over point per game, but he's got like 3 straight 90-point seasons. And then he also has had some pretty solid playoffs, so definitely got to contain him if we want to have any chance to get to the conference finals. But yeah, they have some good pieces around him, like Zanata and Bembridge. Suglobov being a third-line guy is a really good player as well. Like, they definitely have the pieces to contend. They have also a pretty good defensive core, like Nashville tends to do. And then their goaltending is also really strong, too, with Damien Foy as an 89 and Brouwer as an 85. So Going to be interesting. Merrick's is out for a while. I think it said that he would return for like a game 6 or 7, so there is a chance we might run into Merrick's. Once Merrick's is back, this team definitely looks even stronger on that right-hand side, so yeah, this is definitely going to be a tough matchup, I think, for our team, but I'm definitely hoping our old guys and our younger guys can kind of do what they did in the first round. So with that said, let's get to the second round matchup and see if we're able to find ourselves into a conference finals again, because if we can find ourselves in a conference finals, maybe we could literally beat any team at this point. So here we go, game number 1 on home ice. Let's see if we can build off a very solid first round. I feel like kind of that it's going to be a much tougher round, and it indicates I could honestly see us getting eliminated in less than 7 games as well. So we'll see what ends up happening. Hopefully we could find our defensive play a bit more as well going forward. First period, game 1. 1-0 Preds. Not terrible. I mean, like, but it is like kind of like I was just mentioning. We don't want to run into these tight defensive games. If we run into these tight defensive games where we're not scoring goals, that's when we're going to lose, because that's where Nashville thrives a lot. Now, they outshot us 19-6, but we're only down by a goal. So far, Malkin is playing very good in this postseason, and I'm very happy with his performance. Obviously, it's going to raise questions on who we end up keeping in terms of the goaltenders this offseason, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But Latondres opens the scoring for them. Like I said, we're being badly outshot, so we definitely need to generate more chances, because obviously 6 shots on goal against a good defensive team, you're not going to score much goals. You need to get like 30, 40 shots in a game. So let's see if we can bounce back into second period or not. Second period, 4-1 Preds. Yikes. It was 4-0 at one point too. So yeah, we're getting completely manhandled in this game. That's not on Malkin's fault that we're down 4-1, because the shots are literally 31-14 after 2 periods. So we're giving them way too much chances, and Malkin just decided to break a little bit more in that second period. But Bember scored shorthanded. Standard made it 3-0. Wheel made it 4-0, and Dunham gets us on the board. So Dunham's been one of the more quiet guys on the team. He needs to definitely get going here in this round if we want to have a chance to win, but doesn't look like this first game is going to be too good for us. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we could get back into this game at any point. Hey, we get a short-handed goal of our own from Hansen to make it 4-2. That's pretty good. Can we get a power play goal here? It's a long power play, but we did not score on it. If we would have scored on it, then we probably would have had a chance, but right now we need to find ways to score more than 2 to 3 goals a game, I think, if we want to beat this Preds team. And yeah, it looks like we're going to unfortunately lose game 1 on home ice, so our winning streak comes to an end. Like I said, I kind of expected it to come to an end because of the fact that we won 4 straight games, and usually you don't win 4 straight games too often in the playoffs. Final shots end up being 37-28, so I would say a good goaltending effort. But like I said, we need to get that offense going in the series if we want to beat the Preds, because these tight games aren't going to cut it. They just aren't. Not like in round 1. So Dunham from Kolar's in Giunta. So Giunta got put in net? I'm confused. I thought I saw Malkin was in net for all of them, but maybe after all those 3 goals in that second period, the coach is just like, you know what, we're going to take him out, just save him. So I guess Giunta came in relief, and then Hansen scored from Cashman and Bell. Let me take a look at that for a second here. Yeah, Malkin, after surrendering those 3 quick goals, he actually was pretty bad in that span. 7.72 goals against, but I don't know if I would still blame him fully because we were getting so badly outshot. Giunta came in relief and only had to face 9 shots through 27 minutes, so I guess we did a better defensive job once Giunta was back in. Like, we didn't allow them to take as much shots on goal or something like that. And the other 3 stars, Bembridge, Standard, and Latondres. So not even Holton was like a huge threat in that game. It was their other players. Like, did Holton even have any points? Out of curiosity, let me see. Holton did not have a single point against us in that game. So their depth scoring is definitely also a factor. We definitely got to contain our other lines. It's not just Holton. But if Holton gets going, that's going to be problematic. So, not the worst first game ever, but definitely not a great way to start off the second round. So, I think we're going to probably keep Malkin in net for this game just because he's been better as of late. Obviously, the last game wasn't good, but if he plays bad this game, Giunta might have the net for most of the second round. So, literally each round might be a different goaltender. We'll keep the defensive core and such the same for now, but I really hope that we could get our offense going in this game. Like I mentioned, we did lose game 1 in round 1, so maybe there's a chance we come back with 4 unanswered wins of our own in this next round as well. So let's keep the team the same for now, but obviously if we lose this one, adjustments are going to be needed. So Here we go, game 2 on home ice. Hopefully we could get a win on home ice because or else we're going to have to win probably 2 games on the road. First period, game number 2. 2-0 Preds. Worse start than last game, and I did say we need to make sure Holton doesn't get on the board, and we need to contain that depth. Well, Holton probably has 2 points in that opening period. He opens the scoring, probably assists on this Boudreau goal on the power play. Shots are 18-7 in favor of us, so that's a good first period in terms of generating chances, but as I was kind of scared about, our offense is not doing too well against a good defensive team, so we need to be able to contain them in the second period and find ways to score goals. Malkin has not been good to start off the second round, which still raises the question, which goaltender are we going to run with in the future? Like, honestly, I'm okay with running either goaltender at this point because it seems like both goaltenders just have their bad moments. Like, Malkin's been good in the regular season, but playoffs so far, he had their good first round. Well, the second round, he's been pretty bad. But anyways, we're outplaying them, but we're down by 2 goals. We're still in this game. Can we start the claw back in the second period or not? Second period? 3-0 Preds. Yikes, they're going to take both our home games, aren't they? Holton scores again, so yeah, Holton is now starting to come alive, and that's just going to make it even tougher for us to win these type of games. Shots are in our favor, 29-20, but Foy and their defensive play is just way too hard for us right now at this point. I honestly feel like we could get swept potentially unless we find ways to win in Nashville, but this is not looking too good here early on, so let's see what happens in the third period, see if we could get anything to make our team cheer a little bit and get going for the next game. Kolars gets us on the board to make it a 3-1 game, beating Foy. Nice to see that. Still down by a pair of goals, though, which is not ideal at this stage, and Kobayashi makes it 4-1. Well, we badly outplayed them in this one, and yeah, we got completely goalied, and we're not scoring enough. There's a goal from Reefers. Shout out to Reefers, makes it a 4-2 game, and Swanson against the empty netter. We outshot them 46-26, but they are just playing to their strength right now. Goaltending and defense. And then Holton had showed up, so unfortunately it's another loss on home ice, which falls us down to 2-0 in the series, and we're going to need to find a way to win 2 games on the road if we want to have a chance to get back into the series potentially. So Kolars from Bell and Ristolainen and Reefers from Kopitz and Comrie. I wonder if that's Kolars' last NHL goal, because technically Kolars, Ristolainen, and Arena might all retire after this round too, so we got to be a little bit worried about that, because that's definitely going to set us back a bit if that is the case or not. So, damn. If we would have had Staubitz, I feel like I would have been a lot more safer going into this round because we'd have an offensive threat. But right now, I don't feel like we have that huge offensive threat. Apparently, Sagan's back from the AHL, which is good, or back to the AHL after some injuries. Let's just go best lines down there. And DeAndre Hunwick has returned from injury. I almost forgot that he was injured, to be honest, until I remembered when I saw that Sagan came back. So we do have at least our top defender returning, so maybe this helps out our defensive play a bit. Now, that does mean that Carlotti is going to have to get sent down, which is kind of a bummer, but it is the way it has to be. Geez, Petterman is aggressive. 16 penalty minutes in 7 games. I almost feel like scratching Petterman, but I know he's going to complain, so I'm going to have to take Carlotti out. Unfortunately, he's been good for us so far, but we'll take him out, and we'll move Hunwick, obviously. Let's move him to the top pairing just for a change up. And then I think we'll just probably leave Carlotti scratch for the time being, because I honestly could throw him back into the lineup. I don't want to necessarily send him to the AHL. So, yeah, let's do that. Obviously, is one of our adjustments that we're going to make. Our other adjustment that we're going to make here is starting Gionta for Game 3. And then aside from that, McLeod's been pretty quiet this round compared to last round. But there's not much else I could do here. I could move Cashman back to the top line, Risto back to the second line. Aside from that, Comrie goes up, Hansen goes down. Let's just do something like that. I honestly don't really know what adjustments I can make to make us actually simulate good. So we might as well just make a couple of small changes and see if it ends up changing anything. But so far, not a good start to this round. We're being outscored 9-4. And we kind of are still not scoring a lot of goals in general. Like last round, we didn't score more than 3 goals too often. Only like 3 times in 5 games. And in this round, we haven't scored that more than that multiple times. It's been 4 straight games pretty much of like 2 to 3 goals, which is not very good. So definitely need to find a next level on our offensive side of things. Obviously, our goaltending needs to find itself a bit here as well. So hopefully Gionta could kind of carry us into the next round, and then maybe Malkin takes over again in the conference finals if we get there. But for right now, it's not off to a good start. So let's get to game 3. We are now on the road in Nashville, so hopefully we can find a way to get 2 wins here, because if we find only 1 win, we're going to have to come back from a 3-0 deficit or a 3-1 deficit, or not a 3-0 deficit potentially going into next game, or we could be down 3-1 going into next game. So, or 2-1 going into next game. Yeah, that's what I mean. So let's find a way to end up getting some wins on the road and get ourselves back into the series. It could be the home ice trend right now, so don't count us out just yet, but we need to find that offensive game and shut down Holton. So here we go, game 3 on the road in Nashville. Do we have some road wins potentially to get us back into the series or not? First period. 1-1, okay, I'll take it. We do get an opening period goal. That's nice to see. Kobayashi scores for them on Malkin. I literally just put Gionta in that. Maybe I forgot to simulate a day. Well, if that was the case, I don't know what happened, but yikes. I really hope Malkin's not off to a good start again in this game, because we're out shooting them 14-7, but it's a 1-1 game, and they opened the scoring. So, yeah, I really hope I didn't make that mistake. Hopefully Gionta's in that next game. I'll probably try and put him in again, just because maybe I forgot to actually advance a day before making those line adjustments. So we'll come back to that, but at least it's 1-1. As McLeod has a power play goal, so good to see him on the board, because like I said, he had a good first round. Wasn't great in the first 2 games of the series, but if he could get fire, that could definitely help us out a lot. Can we find a way to get our first lead of the series potentially? Because I don't think we've had the lead yet in any of these games. So, second period. 3-1 us, okay, good period. Petterman and Dunham, so we do get 2 more goals. And we have our first lead going into the third period. Shots are 27-12 in favor of us, so this is a much better game so far. Let's see if we can lock this game down in the third. I definitely could still see the series going to 7 games, but we just need to find a way to win these games in Nashville first, obviously. Standard pulls the Preds within 1. That's not ideal. We are still up by a goal, though, which is good. Can we hold them off is the question the rest of the way. Oh, my goodness. Standard scores again, and it's a 3-3 game. God damn it, Standard. Why do you have to be a good goal scorer? And we are going to be going to overtime in Game 3 with a score 3-3 after 3. Yes, I had to say all those 3s just for fun, but yikes. We are up 3-1, so it looked like we were going to potentially claw back into the series, but the Preds have found their offensive game a bit. We're out shooting them 31-22, so yeah, Malkin definitely should not be in that next game. And yeah, definitely I'll have to make sure Gionta's in net for the next one, but can we find a way to get an OT hero here and make us get back into the series? Because if we lose this game, we need to reverse sweep the Preds, which could happen, but it's very unlikely. So who wants to be the hero for us? Let it be somebody that hasn't scored in a while, maybe for us. That'd be great. Power play for us, and we do score. Let's go. And who was it? It was Narena. Let's go. And that's why we do not let go of Narena for just random things like that. 3 minutes into the overtime period on the power play, 35-25 the shots. And we will survive potentially another day, as now it is a 2-1 series only. All right. So the home team hasn't won so far. McLeod from Cashman and Comrie, Petterman from Kopitz and Hansen, Dunham from Ristolainen, and the game winner is Narena from Kolars and Dunham. That was Narena's first goal of the postseason. Nice. 3 stars of the game, Standard, Dunham, and Kobayashi. So we did blow a 3-1 lead, which is not ideal, but for us to win on the road, that is a good one. Hopefully the team could carry that momentum into the next game, and we could tie the series up. Because if we tie the series up, then it's literally anybody's game pretty much. But if we lose this game, we still need to basically crawl out of like a very deep hole. So we'll see if we're able to do that or not. Let's get Gionta back in, even though Malkin just won that game. Malkin was still kind of iffy, in my opinion. So we will go to Gionta to start Game 4. I must have made a mistake, though, with the sim and stuff like that. But, yeah, Gionta's going to start this game, and we'll see if he's able to help us tie the series up at 2 apiece. Aside from that, we're not going to make any other line of adjustments. Let's see if we could tie the series up headed back home. Because after 2 losses to start off the playoff round, maybe we're going to find a way to win 4 straight games again. We've done it before, so let's see what happens here. Game 4, still in Nashville. Can we find a way to tie the series up after we were down 2-0? Let's see what happens. I definitely think this could go to Game 7, which means that right winger is probably going to return for them, which is not ideal. But first period, Game 4. 1-0 Preds, not good. We're kind of falling. Oh, Merrick's is back. Speaking of the guy, he returns from injury in Game 4, so he's still probably on a playable injury. So if he gets re-injured, that's a pretty big loss for the Preds. But he literally scores a minute and 9 seconds into his first game back, I think. So that's not great. Shots are 14-12 in favor of the Preds, so even first period, but we are trailing, which is not great. I would prefer to be tied, if anything. So can we have a good second period here and get ourselves back into this game? Second period. Still 1-0 Preds. Oh, man, we're kind of going back into a turtle shell offensively. Like, I mean, we are generating chances, but their goaltender is finding his game again, which is not ideal. If we could find a way to win this period, we could tie the series up. If we lose this period like 1-2-0, Nashville's finding their defensive strength again, which is not ideal. So let's see what happens third period, see if we can find a way to tie this game up and potentially tie the series as well. Third period underway. Come on, boys. Give me a goal. We should have some offensive capability in us to score goals. And we do tie it up. It's Robertson. Let's go. All right. Robertson's had a pretty okay playoffs, I'd say, for the most part. Good penalty kill there by the boys. Power play for us, and Cashman scores. Let's go. The money man himself makes it a 2-1 game. Cashman scores again, 3-1. And the home team has not won a game so far this postseason, which makes me feel like it is the home ice trend. If that is the case, we would win in Game 7, I think. So let's keep our fingers crossed, but that was a good third period from the boys. Nice little rally there. Merrick's open to scoring for them 1 minute and 9 seconds in, and afterwards Giunta shut it down. So Robertson from Comrie and Delisle, Cashman from McLeod and Delisle, and Cashman from Kollars and Bell. But yeah, that was a good effort from Giunta. So I definitely think Giunta should be the goaltender potentially for the rest of this round. Potentially, if he continues on this pace, that is. But both goaltenders definitely making still that huge argument for who should be here next season. But Cashman, the first star of the game, Giunta, second star, and Delisle, the third star. All right, so that was a very good game. Nice, strong defensive game as well. So we are starting to find ourselves defensively, and that's not an ideal injury. But at least it's not long-term, but it is for the rest of the round. Eugene Dunham, who has not been actually that good in this postseason so far, is out with a neck strain, and he'll be out till May the 14th. So let me go replace player for a second. But yeah, Dunham hasn't been a huge player in this postseason right now, so that's kind of okay. But also, he's a high overall guy, so we have to put somebody new on that top line with Ristolainen and Cashman, I think, is up there, right? Yeah. So I guess Doig's going to get a big opportunity, and Robertson's going to get a chance in the top 6. Reefers could go up as well, and Stillman will just go to the 4th line. Yeah, I guess that's how we'll run it. Interesting. I could always try McLeod as a top line right winger. He is a right D that shoots a left. That might not be a bad option too. But where... trying to think if that's what I want to do or not. Because Robertson is a grinder. I feel like he could take too much penalty minutes. So far, he hasn't been super aggressive, doing only 2 penalty minutes in 9 games, 4 goals. So I feel like he deserves a chance in that top 6. But I would like to maybe put McLeod on that top line, but it doesn't really actually work that well. So you know what? We're just going to go with this, and we'll see how it works out. I could move Delisle over to the right side potentially too. But I think Robertson deserves a chance up there in the top 6. Like I said, Dunham's injury is not too long-term, but he is going to miss the rest of this second round, which could prove costly to us, so hopefully that's not the case. All right, let me go back to headlines as well again for a second, because I do need to put Giunta back in net again for the start of the next game, just because Malkin has still not been the best so far, and Giunta is 975 through 2 games, so to me, I feel like Giunta is still maybe the better goaltender. Obviously, he's a bit streaky when it comes to the postseason sometimes, but he's won so many Vezinas that I honestly think he's the better of the 2 goalies, but Malkin's obviously a lot younger, so I don't really know still what decision we're going to make when we get to that point, but it's going to be a tough one regardless. Let's get to Game 5 and see if we can take our first lead of the series. We've won 2 straight games still so far. The home team hasn't won so far. If, for some reason, Nashville wins here, there might be still that home ice trend. I'm feeling like that could be the case right now, at least. So, anyways, let's get to Game 5 and see if we could take our first lead of the series here. Come on, boys. Let's build off these last 2 games. Play good defensively, get good goaltending results, and offense if we can, too. First period, Game 5. It is 2-2, so not a great defensive period, but a good offensive one. Hammerlick scores for them shorthanded. Cashman scores a power play goal for us, so that's probably on the same power play likely. And then Robertson scores after getting moved into the top 6. Cassian ties it up for them. Not a good period from Giannis, so I'm still not too sure on the goaltending situation whatsoever. 2 goals against on 7 shots isn't ideal. We do have 2 goals on 16 shots, so we are outplaying them. So far, not too bad. Obviously, we're not trailing, so it's not a bad thing at all. Can we find a way to get that lead in the second period? Second period? Still 2-2. Okay, this might be one of those games that go to overtime potentially. Shots are 28-16 in favor of us, so their goaltender is definitely playing quite strong. Better period from Gianta for sure after that first period, but they still don't really have a lot of shots on goal, so his save percentage still doesn't look the best. Can we find a way to get that lead in the third period? Let's see what happens. This is a big period for both teams as Zanata scores immediately to start the third. And Cassian scores. I think it might be the home ice trend right now. Unless we lose next game, obviously then it's not. But Gianta is definitely showing me that he's not the goaltender right now anymore. So maybe we should go back to Malkin next game. He was really good in his first few starts. But yeah, this is a rough one for him. He is facing a lot more chances probably in this third period, but a bad third period from our team, not like last game. And unfortunately, despite outshooting them 38-28, we end up losing. So their goaltender was very strong in that game, and we are going to be trailing again in the series. So is this the home ice trend, or are we going to lose in 6 games? That's the only question we have left. So Cashman from McLeod and Tulipov, Robertson from McLeod and Ristolainen. Then they break through with 3 goals in that third period, especially 3 goals in the first 6 minutes of that third period definitely set the tone, and that's not ideal. 3 stars of that game is all Preds players, Foy, Cassian, and Zanata. All right, well, not a great game. Any badly plus-minus guys? Ooh, yeah, the top line was -4 and -3 and stuff like that, so maybe that Dunham injury played a factor in that game. I'm not too sure, but definitely not a strong defensive game. All right, well, let's make some line adjustments. So far, the home ice trend is true to form. Wonderful continuing game 6. We will start Malkin this game just because Gianta was bad last game. Kind of go with the goaltender that performs the best, so to speak. And we will also make some adjustments to our lines because this could be the last NHL game potentially for Risto, for Kolars, and for Norena. So we want to make sure that they're getting their ice time that they deserve. Aside from that, I don't think there's too much else I want to adjust. Maybe move Comrie back down to that fourth line a bit. Robertson's been pretty good at scoring goals. 5 goals in 10 games. Has he been outperforming Doig? Not really. Doig has 6 assists in 10 games. He did start off the playoffs on a hot note. Well, let's try Robertson top line. I really like how he's been playing so far. Let's try him out, even though he's a grinder. And let's split up Hunwick and Bell just to make our second pairing maybe even stronger. And I think that's probably what we'll do. Yeah. So we'll see if Malkin's able to force us in Game 7. So far, like I said, the home team has won a game. So if we can find a way to win in Nashville, maybe the EA voodoo is on our side for a change for Game 7. So we'll see if that's the case. It's kind of scary that this could be the last game for Ristolainen and all that. But let's get into it. Game 6. Can we force a Game 7 back on home ice and try and extend the careers of some legends on this team? Let's see what happens. Real-time sim. Hopefully we can find a way to play good defensively in this game and get good goaltending results too. Because our offense has been, it's been better as of late, I guess I could say. It still has to improve a lot, I think, going forward. But we are getting a lot older as a team. Tulipov opens the scoring for us, so good to see our defensemen score first. But Lewis answers right back for the Preds. And once again, it's on a low amount of shots that they've scored a goal. So that's not ideal. Shots are 11-6. It seems like always we outplay them in these situations in terms of shots, but we give up goals on low amounts of shots. So our goaltenders really haven't been that great in this round. Like we've had some like flashes of good goaltending, but consistency is not there right now. Even though these 2 goaltenders are very high-end goaltenders, they've both probably won Vezina trophies if Malkin wins one this year. So let's see what happens in the second period. See if we can get that lead back. Power play for us, we do not score on it. Penalty kill. Nicely done, penalty killers. Penalty kill again. We got to be a bit more disciplined here, boys. Don't need to keep on taking penalties. That's the 3rd penalty we take in the second period, but we kill it off again. So At least our penalty kill is doing good work here. Power play for us. We do not score on it. And it will remain tied at 1 going into the third, despite a lot of special teams chances in that second period. So shots are 21-18 in favor of us. It's a 1-1 game. Like I said, these close games kind of favor the Preds a bit more, so I am a bit scared. Hopefully we can find a way to get like 2 quick goals and take a 2-goal advantage, because obviously if we stay tied at 1, I think it plays into their hands a bit, because their goaltender's been a lot better than ours so far this postseason. Well, third period underway. Let's see what happens. See if we could force a game 7, or is this potentially the end for Risto and Kolar, or not Kolars, and Narena, those type of guys. Hopefully it's not the end of their careers, but it potentially could be. Oh man, this is a very tight game, just like most of these games in this round. We kill off a big penalty there late in the game. And we score a goal with 6 seconds left, and it's literally the guy that was scratched because of Dunham's injury. Stillman has forced us to a game 7. Well, I was not expecting that. I thought we were going to literally go to an overtime. But 6 seconds left. Stillman, from a kind of a bad angle, puts it on goal, I guess, and just beats the goaltender blocker side or glove side. That's a huge, huge goal. And we just basically did to the Preds what they do to a lot of other teams, is win these 2-1 games. So, home team has not won so far. Can we find a way to win in Game 7 and be the first home team to win so far? God damn. Tulipop from Hansen and Reefers, and Stillman from Comrie. So the fourth line was out there that late in the game, and it come through with a really big goal. So if we end up winning a Stanley Cup, shout to Stillman. Only 4 minutes of ice time, but picked up a big game-winning tying goal in the last minute of the game, or last 10 seconds of the game. He threw 2 hits as well, brought some physicality, and Malkin played good. Wow. All right. Well, I expected that game to go to overtime, but it didn't. So Malkin, Foy, and Stillman, the 3 stars of the game, as we head to Game 7. Yeah, this is probably the home ice trend right now. At least that's what it seems like. So the question I have now is, can we win 2 in a row? No team has won 2 in a row so far. It's been, actually, no, the Preds did win 2 in a row. That's right at the beginning. So they won both our home games, and we won both the road games. They won our home game. We won the road game. I think it's the home ice trend, as long as we win this game. Obviously, if we lose this game, then it wasn't that trend. But so far, it's been a really, really inconsistent, weird series. Winner of the series will face either Edmonton or Dallas, because both of them are going to Game 7 as well. Boston and Pittsburgh are tied at 7 as well in the Eastern Conference. Buffalo is the only team that has clinched a conference finals appearance so far. I think we got to keep our team the same after a game like that. Even though we didn't score a ton of goals, I do like our defensive play in this one. Dunham's still not back for a week, so he might miss some of the conference finals potentially if we get there. So the question is this the home ice trend? Let's find out. This is potentially the last game of some big guys' careers as well if we end up losing this. So let's see if we can find a way to win here and get that first home win of the second round. They open the scoring early. Not a good start for Malkin again. I don't know what's with this guy allowing goals on like less than 5 shots, but he does that quite often. Power play for us. Can we find a way to tie it? Yes, we can. Kolars. Big goal there from Kolars. Penalty kill here in the first. We killed that off. Still tied at 1. Pretty even first period in terms of chances, and it's going to be 1-1 after 1, just like the last game. Obviously, the last game was a 2-1 final, so these last few games have been quite defensive, which is kind of how you would expect it to be with these teams being as good as they were defensively during the season. Shots are 12-11 in favor of the Preds. It's a 1-1 game. Can we find that first lead in the second? Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. I wish I had Stelwitz in the situation, because Stelwitz would flourish probably. Kolars. Maybe Kolars has learned some stuff from Stelwitz. He makes it a 2-1 lead with his second goal of the night. Kolars has had like 3 goals in this series. Sorry, my voice tried to die on me, but Kolars with 3 goals in the series is pretty damn good, considering he's not really a goal scorer. And, oh boy, that's a bad late goal to give up, as Holton scores with 12 seconds remaining in that second period. It looked like we were going to have the lead going into the third, but now it's a 2-2 game going into the third with the shots 25-19. This is literally anybody's game going into the third, anybody's series. If we could find a way to win this 20 minutes, we win the series. If we lose this 20 minutes, obviously we lose it. It might go to overtime potentially, which is kind of what I would expect with this type of series. Game 7 overtime, I could definitely see it. So, who wants to be a hero for us in this third period and get us to that lead and give us a chance to get to the next round? Let's see it happens. Come on, guys. Let's get that next goal as the Preds take the lead. It's Bembridge. That's not ideal considering they scored a late goal. Now they score an early goal. But we do answer. Hutton scores to make it a 3-3 game. I almost feel like intervening here at this point, but I'm going to keep it off for the time being and wait a little bit here. Just because I do... Oh my goodness, the Preds just scored a 3:35 left. That's a bad goal to give up for Malkin. Maybe I should have went with Giunta in this one. I'm not too sure, but we do still have a chance to tie this up. We've had some pretty crazy games, I think, with Nashville before in Game 7s, if I remember right. Because there was that really high-scoring game with them a few years ago, right? So we might as well jump in here late in the game and see if we could find a way to tie this one up. Obviously, if we don't, we're out in the second round, so let's jump on in and see if we could find a way to get this game to overtime at least. But a little bit of a bad third period here might have us on the brink of elimination. Now, the Preds should be the better team technically, but we've been pretty good all season, and I forgot to change my camera angle. I forgot that I changed it for a little thing I made for my 2010 build. So let's actually go back over here and change this back to... Where was it? Oh, here. True Broadcast. Shout out to True Broadcast. True Broadcast makes it a lot more fun anyways. I just don't want to look like I'm actually playing the game here. Alright. So we have our top line out there down by 1 goal late in this one. Only less than 4 minutes. So this is going to go probably pretty quick unless we can find a way to tie it up. So Kolarz finds Bell. Drew Bell with it. Will carry it in. Lost the puck. Got it back. Bell over to Kolarz. And that was a bullet shot that goes off the blocker of the goalie and out of play. Damn, that was a close chance for Kolarz' hat trick right out of the gate. That was a rocket for a guy that doesn't shoot the puck very often. Alright, still the top line out there. Risto, Robertson, and Kolarz. That's kind of an interesting top line. Risto can't win it against Holton. Here is Graps. Laton dressed to Merrick's. Merrick's is on that top line, I guess, when he's in the lineup. Throws the pass across, doesn't work. Kolarz will carry it in now. Looking for the hat trick, looking for the tying goal. He finds Robertson a shot, and that's turned away by Foy. Foy has some interesting looking pads. Not the coolest pads, but some solid gear. Oh my goodness, come on guys. We got to find a way to just tie this up here. We've had some late goals before in playoff games when we jumped in, so let's hope that's the case here. Cashman, McLeod, and Doig are out there, so McLeod, the forward/defender, is going to be out there late in this one. Here's Boudreau. Get it away. We don't want that top line getting chances. And Boudreau just hit the post. Damn, that leaked through Malkin, but it hits the post. So we are still in this game. Raja Lotto, Holton there. Almost getting pressure. Huge block shot there, and Cashman will run away with it. And we probably will pull our goalie soon, I guess. Maybe not. Swanson just poked it away. Swanson with the puck. Turns it over. Bell finds Cashman. Now we're probably good. Yep, we pulled the goalie. Looking to tie this one up. We hopefully play actually good defensively in front of this empty net. Bembridge throws it up. Oh my goodness. What the heck is that defense? And Zanata finds the empty net. And that's probably going to do it. As he puts us to bed because he's double Z, you know. It looks like... Oh my goodness. That is a bad defensive play again, kind of on the empty net. I don't know who jumped on the ice, but they just ran right by him. And he got it clear on breakaway because of that. I'm going to jump in, look at the instant replay on that, because the line change, I don't know, that's just, who came on? Kolarz did. Okay, so Kolarz literally, he should be knowing that he needs to kind of play good defensively here, but he just beelines towards the offensive zone and misses this pass. This goes under his stick, and then Zanata has a clear break because of that. Nobody else realizes it, and yeah, he just has a clear on breakaway for an empty net. That's unfortunate, man. That's unfortunate. Of course, it had to be Kolarz, but Kolarz could have probably picked that off, but he's going to be letting himself down about that, considering, like I said, this could be Risto's last game and all that, so. Unfortunately, it's going to be a Game 7 loss, so the home ice team never won a game in the series, huh? That's quite surprising. I thought it was going to be the home ice trend, but nope. Maybe if we didn't jump in, we would have tied it. I honestly don't even know. But I wanted to see those guys out there one more time at least, as we pulled the goalie again, but they're going to probably find a way to get another empty netter here. Because, oh, there's a nice block shot. I'd love to see a block shot on an empty net, or another block shot. All right. So there's some actual good defensive play in front of the empty net sometimes, right? Robertson with it. We're still down by 2 goals. Way too late. You got to put shots on that, man. You can't just be doing plays like that. And unfortunately, we're going to be knocked out in the second round, which means is Risto and is Narena and all those dudes going to just decide to call quits. And I don't even really know what to make of this series because, like, the goaltending was super inconsistent. Both goalies didn't play good at times, but also played good at other times. And our offense, obviously, like I said, kind of dried up near the end of this series. Or in general, it wasn't very good. So that's probably why we end up losing. But there's the handshake line. Ristolainen, obviously, with the C on this chest. Malkin going through the handshake line. But unfortunately, we are out in the second round. I was really thinking this team would have got itself to the conference finals, but a bad third period. Kolar's had some good chances, even that good chance to tie it up, but he got completely robbed on that by a glove, actually, not a blocker, and then went flying out of play. And then Zanata killed us in that game 7, 3 points for him, including that empty net goal. And then who got first star? Probably Foy, because we outshot them 39-33, right? Nope, it was Benbridge. 2 goals and 1 assist. So a couple of guys killed us on that team. And here's the final stats from that game. Man, that's unfortunate. And yeah, Malkin in 875. Malkin was quite inconsistent in that round. That's unfortunate. I do want to take a look at one more time the guys out there that could be retiring. Or the guy that could be mostly retiring, because it looks like Narena isn't on the ice, but we got to show again to Risto and get maybe a closer up photo of his face and stuff like that, because this man is probably going to call it quits, I think, at this season's end. So, damn. So shout out to him. And yeah, Narena's probably on the bench somewhere, but we already have some screenshots of them, so I'm not going to worry too much. But his is the last game in Albuquerque for Malkin or Gionta. It probably is for one of them, unless I could find a way to bring them both back, but it seems like when you have elite goalie combos, it doesn't work the best. Now, I'm kind of curious if that injury played a huge factor in that or not. Like, if Dunham was playing still, would we have had a higher chance? Maybe? I'm not too sure. But let's take a look at our stats at the end of our playoff run. See what happened for us. So I do want to look at our team stats here first and foremost, though, because I am curious on what was going wrong for the team. So we only averaged 2.92 goals for per game. So that was probably the main issue, is we just could not score consistently. We did give up 3 goals against per game, which isn't the best. Sometimes we got good goaltending results, sometimes we didn't. So that needed to be more consistent. Power play percentage wasn't very good. And the penalty kill was not too bad. So, But we were 5-0 on the road in this postseason, but a 2-5 record on home ice is not how you should be playing in front of your fans. So, kind of a bad run on our home ice, but good on the road, which is kind of surprising. Yes, there was a lot more pressure on us in a sense when we're on home ice. But in terms of our playoff stats, so Cashman led the way with 14 points in 12 games. Cashman was great. I think Cashman still is worth his contract we gave him. Obviously, it's a big-time contract, but I think he's been fantastic here since he's gotten that chance to be the top-line center on this team, / second-line center. Kolar's 9 points, Risto 8 points, only the 1 goal in the playoffs. Yeah, that's definitely makes me feel like he's going to retire. He had a rough time scoring goals. Usually, goal scoring isn't terribly hard for him, but it was this year. Comrie on 7 points, Doig only on 6 assists. No goals for Doig in the postseason. That's not ideal. 5 goals from Robertson's good. Dunham was quite quiet when he played. I don't know if he would have made an impact later in the series if we would have had a chance. Obviously, he's going to be the top-line right winger again next year. Hansen on 4 points, Delisle on 4 points. No goals for Delisle either this postseason. So a couple of guys did not score as much as they should. Kopitz had no goals as well. Stillman literally had 1 goal and was the biggest goal of his career. Unfortunately, we couldn't put it to good use. From a defensive standpoint, Ryder McLeod as a forward, obviously he's still great. He probably will play forward again next season. But if we need to, we might throw him back to defense just because we could lose Tulipov this offseason too. Bell on 6 assists, not terrible. Tulipov 4 points. Carlotti was good. Maybe I should have kept Carlotti in the lineup partly, but I didn't. Petterman on 2 points. Narena only on 2 points, but he did have a huge game-winning goal, so I'm not going to harp on him too hard. Also, he had one of the better plus-minuses on the team. We also had Hunwick on 1 goal and then Huttunen on 1 goal as well. So Hunwick missed 6 games. That kind of played a factor a little bit, not too much. But at least he's signed long-term, so he's definitely probably one of my favorite defenders on this team right now. From a goaltending perspective, Malkin had a 911 save percentage and a 2.78 goals against average. Gionta had a 904. I don't still really know who I would prioritize just because both goalies are super weird. Like, you look at their regular seasons, Malkin's only played 3 years as an NHL goaltender. He just posted a 913 save percentage this regular season, but his playoff numbers a 911, so relatively similar numbers. But if we go like game by game stats, look at the inconsistency against the Preds for him. A 7.72 goals against average, a 4.02 goals against average, a 2.86, a shutout, actually 6 saves, and so he only played 14 minutes. 1 goal against, and then a 4.04 goals against average. So he was quite lackluster against the Preds, but the Preds are a good team, so maybe that makes sense. But in the first round, he was really, really good. So I honestly don't know what to make of Boris Malkin in his stats. Now, Gionta, on the other hand, obviously he's won a ton of hardware, and he's been good at times too during the regular season, like a 913 save percentage in the regular season for him, a career 914. But if you go game logs, this postseason as well, he had some inconsistencies too. Like near the end of his regular season, he had some solid results as well. But you can see in the playoffs, he didn't get the play too much. He makes 9 saves, doesn't allow a single goal. He had a 969 in the game afterwards, which was great. But then a 773 in Game 5. So I don't know if he would have been the guy for Game 7 or not. But yeah, both goalies very inconsistent in the postseason. It seems like in the regular season, they're quite consistent, though. So yeah, that's our playoff run. Just could not score enough. And then like the goaltending was inconsistent. So I think that was the main problem. All right, so the question is now, who is going to win the Stanley Cup, and are we going to see any big retirements this season, potentially? I feel like we definitely will be losing some guys to retirement in this episode, so hold on to your seats a little bit. Let's actually just go simulate the draft. I was going to wait until, see if there's any pop-ups. Let's just go best lines for the time being. But who's going to win a Stanley Cup in 2044? And I guess the AI decided to strip the captaincy or alternate captaincy off Narena. And they made Cashman the alternate captain instead. So I don't know why they did that. But anyways, Nashville goes on to win the Stanley Cup. So we did lose to the best team in the NHL. That at least makes me feel a little bit better. But I felt like we could have beat them. I feel like we could have. Lehigh Valley wins the Calder Cup. So let's stop this sim here and take a look at who was on that. Actually, we already know who was on that cup-winning Nashville Predators team. But who did they beat in the finals? They beat the Buffalo Sabres. So after beating us in 7 games, they beat the Oilers and Sabres in 7 games. So they had a long run, except for that first round, which is interesting. But they do get it done this season. So Holton is a cup winner, apparently. All right. Terms of awards for the season. Nashville Predators win the Stanley Cup. President's Trophy goes to us again. I don't even know how much we've won at this point, but 3 in the last 5 years. So we've been good in the regular season, but not translating into playoff success, unfortunately. In terms of that, Nashville and Buffalo Cup Finals. First time both these teams have been into the Cup Finals in the last 5 years. Interesting. Individual awards. Bochenski wins the Art Ross for San Jose. Also the Hart. Bissonnette wins another Norris. This guy's insane. I can't wait to look at some of these guys' careers as well when they retire, if he does retire before this year's ends. But he also wins the Lady Byng for the Jets. Ryder McLeod won the Calder as we expected, which is great to see. Obviously, translating him over to a forward works really well. It could be the case what we do in next season, or he could end up being like a top-line defenseman and getting a lot of power play time because Narena could retire, so he could be that power play specialist, which I think he already was. So aside from that, any other awards? We got Holton winning for Nashville, winning the Conn Smythe, the amount of surprise. Strudwick wins the Vezina Trophy. I'm pretty sure this guy's was close to winning some. I don't think he actually won one, but he came close to. That breaks up a streak of our shutouts, or not our shutouts, our Vezina Trophy winning goaltenders, though, because I was thinking that we would win another one this season, but I think Gionta obviously didn't play enough games. Malkin probably didn't start enough either. But like former goaltender Trenton Spezza won one in 2041, and then Gionta won 2 in a row, so kind of crazy. William Jennings also went to Strudwick, and Lou Omala in Boston. Zach Hurd, hey, shout out to Zach Hurd. I haven't heard his name in a while. In Vancouver wins to Bill Masterton. Prentice for Buffalo wins to Jack Adams. Mendez for Edmonton wins the Selke for the second consecutive year. Interesting. So maybe he's the new Ristolainen. Bochenski wins the Lindsay for San Jose and the Richard. It's good seeing Staubitz's name still on this list, but man, does it suck that he's retired. AHL awards, anyone for us? Probably not, right? Does not look like it, unfortunately. All right. So no awards this season other than the Calder Trophy going to the young defenseman / forward in McLeod. Let's just look at him as a whole. Hopefully he's a good overall next season. It looks like he developed 1T, which is interesting. That's actually pretty sick considering he was a third-round pick. So Ryder McLeod with 1T as a defenseman / forward. That's interesting. But now if you go down here, he has his Calder Memorial Trophy. Nice. Interesting. Okay. So there is that. Now the question we all have is obviously not that we don't care about the draft lottery results, but the retirements. Who is going to retire this season? Utah, Vegas, Montreal, Chicago, and Vancouver are your top 5 selections. All right. Who is going to retire? Did we lose Ristolainen? Did we lose Narain? All that stuff. Actually, just to make it more climactic, let me go to here. Let me close my eyes. And let me change this over to goalies so I can't see if any forwards retired. Boom. Okay. So, in terms of retirements for goaltenders, any former guys that used to play with us? Oh, Del Coley. Emiliano Del Coley. I haven't heard that name in a while either. 37 years of age, 361 games, 8 assists. Probably hasn't played since with us, right? He actually got some games in New Jersey in 2036. I'm actually surprised on that. That's actually pretty sick. So he literally missed a year, played a year in New Jersey, never played again. But he did actually get to play on another team. So shout out to Emiliano Del Coley. Not the best goaltender, obviously, in his career. Did have a .914 save percentage as a backup 1 year, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, did not have a long time here. I guess actually, no, he had a decent amount of time here. He also played 4 playoff games in 2032. So yeah, that's interesting. 4th round pick. So shout out to Del Coley, OG legend. Defenseman. Bradley Tuzolino already retired. I didn't even realize he was up there at 36. Damn, man. Tuzolino actually just retired before Narena because Narena did not retire based on what I'm seeing right now. Damn. All right, I did not expect that. So shout out to Tuzolino, though. After leaving us, he started going downhill a little bit. Like in Florida, he was still playing good, but Florida's been a mess, I guess, the last few years. But Tuzolino, interesting player, did not live up to the hype. I mean, over 1,000 career points as a defenseman is fantastic, but yeah, he never won a Norris Trophy. That's the crazy thing. And he got paid a shit ton of money near the end of his career. Still had a no movement clause for 2 more years after this, which is kind of hilarious. But that's crazy. Never won a Norris Trophy with over 1,000 career points. I got to move my face so you guys can see his full-on career stats. But look at that shit, man. That's crazy. So shout out to Tuzolino, former 3rd overall pick, 2026. Anybody else that used to play with us potentially here? Person in Nashville. Damn, he just retired, huh? Any former guys that I completely forgot about? I am really surprised Narena did not retire, though, because literally he's been kind of one of these guys that should be retired, but hasn't. So Narena will be back for another year, which is good, but I know some of you guys won't like that just because of his cap hit, but is what it is. I don't care, really. I don't even care if we win another Stanley Cup. I just want to see him finish his career off with us. Right wing side of things. Melanger Cena. Damn, I forgot about the Melanger Cena dude from Anaheim. He retires. Fawcett. I remember this dude too. Okay, I remember a couple of these guys. It's cool. Any former right wingers, though? Not that I recognize so far. Bryson Reza. 2 games. Who is this? Chicago. Some of these guys get barely any games, so it's kind of interesting to look at them a bit. Left wing side of things, Gavin McKenna has retired. Interesting, with the Minnesota Wild. Also with Caden Lindstrom and Cutter Gauthier. Jesus Capaduca, we sent him back down to the AHL. I almost forgot I signed him again and put him in the AHL. Decides to call it quits at 36. So shout out to Capaduca. I mean, Capaduca was a 2nd round selection. Became a decent player for us. Also had, it looks like, a decent time in Dallas after he left us, too. Because he went on to play in Dallas, had 66 points, 71 points, and 63. Scored 30 goals, 40 goals 1 time. That's not too bad. That's not too bad for Capaduca. And then obviously this season we basically signed him and sent him down to the AHL. Damn, his numbers really dropped off though from 2042 to 2042-43. Like, he became a depth forward, basically. It's like 63 points down to only 8 points in 34 games. But his ice time also dropped down by 4 minutes, so I could kind of see why. But that's kind of insane. Huh. Interesting. Shout out to Jesus, though, anyways. Anybody else that used to play with us on the left side of things? Do they remember? I feel like I remember this Kolesnik guy from the draft. Columbus. 6th overall. Damn, 6th overall, and he only had 367 career points. Yikes. Aside from that, Carl Hemingway, that name sounds kind of familiar. Ottawa, maybe not. And centers. Did Risto retire? He did not. Risto and Arena are sticking around. They just said they don't want to retire, and they're going to come back again for another season, which is pretty damn sick. I'll take it. I'll take it. I mean, it does suck because they're making a lot of money, but at the same time, we'll take it. Aside from that, though, centers that retired, Shane Wright retires, Roger McQueen, some pretty big names. There is one name that used to play for us down here, that being none other than Jeremy Heatley. Jeremy Heatley, former 7th round pick, so pretty solid late round steal. And he went on to play with Buffalo and the Islanders for a little bit before his career came to an end. Some pretty bad defensive results in that last season for him, but still a good 7th round selection. Never played in the playoffs after leaving us either. So shout out to Jeremy Heatley. There he is. Won a cup with us in 2038. So I'll take it. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised on that. I thought there would be actually some retirements with this team, but we did not lose anybody. Other than Capaduca, obviously, who was in the AHL. But that's pretty surprising. That is pretty surprising. All right. So that is the retirements. Anybody become coaches and stuff like that? Out of curiosity, we did not lose any of our coaches, which is good to see. We did just lose an USA Central scout. I don't really know too much if I care about bringing in a scout to replace him, but if you guys want to remind me, you could do that, as these drafts aren't going to matter as much anymore going forward. But final few things we got to take a look at to end off this episode. Let's take a look at the progress reports, the draft class, and the contract situation. So first and foremost, the progress reports, any good growth from the AHL. Let's see. So we have Malkin and Giunta, no growth, obviously, really. AHLers, Bachman's up to a 69 at 20 as an elite. That's pretty good. 67 at 20 for Andronov, and 62 at 21 for Bergfors. So Bergfors not really growing as good, but these two are probably going to be both NHL goalies at some point. From a defensive standpoint, we know that Karlotti's still 78. He'll probably play on our NHL team next season if we get a chance, which is going to be kind of tough now because Narena didn't retire like I was anticipating. Alvin Johnson's a 76 at 21 is a low 4. That's pretty impressive. All right. Ackerstrom's dropping off already. That's not what I was expecting, considering he's only 32. Lawson 69. Thorne is 66. Looks like some guys are getting growth, which is good, but we don't really have the best prospect pool still. Wall's up to a 66 at 22 as a low lead. Damn, man, that's not very good. It's not good. Peluso 60 at 21 is not very good either. Damn, man. Left wing side of things, Doughty's pretty much ready, which is kind of nice. Does give us an option for the bottom 6. So he's a 77 at 22. Dingle, who we drafted last year, is up to a 64 at 18. That's okay. The medium elite's up to a 60 at 20. Kind of a bit low. And Ram just saying doesn't matter. Centers, Cogliano's a 76 at 22, but listed as a 4th line forward. So Cogliano as a 4th line center next season might be the play. He did just have 117 penalty minutes, though, in the AHL, so he might be a bit aggressive. Ashton is 76 at 26. 75 for Krejcik at 22. McKinnon's up to a 64. All right. Not too bad. All right. Now let's take a look at that contract situation and then the draft class. So the contract situation, this is the biggest dilemma we have this offseason, is the goaltenders. Let's first look at these guys. I'll remove my face so you guys can see everybody's expiration status. But the goaltending. Who is the goalies that we run next season? I think Mathers will come back as a backup goaltender if we do let go of one of these guys. But To me, I feel like it's hard to let go of Gionta. I really like Gionta. I know some of you don't as much. It depends, I guess, what he's asking for. But Gionta's been a winner here. He's won a lot of Vezinas. He's won Jennings. He's won a Stanley Cup with us. He's 31 years old. We only have 4 more years left, so he probably won't retire before the series ends. Malkin is a young goaltender, though. 25 years old, higher overall. Has not won anything so far. Did just develop some X factors. Actually, he won a Jennings technically because he shared it with Gionta. But aside from that, Boris Malkin has been a bit more inconsistent, maybe, at times. I don't really know how to explain it. But what are they both asking for? That's the main thing. What's the main thing? So, Malkin wants a 7-year deal at $10.3 million as a 25-year-old goaltender. That takes him until he's 32. It's not terrible. He does also have a lot of organizational interest, which means we could probably knock this down to 2 bars, potentially, if we offer them this before the draft. Likely it goes up if we get to the re-sign stage, my guess, but I feel like we could get him for like 9.25 if we want to bring him back. Now, Gionta, on the other hand, probably doesn't want as much, my guess. Yeah, he wants less term. Now, he does have organizational interest as well, but he only wants 4 years, which would take him right till the end of this franchise mode. And we could probably knock him down by 2 bars as well, just like Malkin. And he's literally going to probably cost us maybe a smidge less than Malkin. Like maybe $200,000 less money. So, I want your guys' opinion. Who would you keep? And I honestly might have to kind of go off like the comments. If there's not a lot of comments, it might be hard for me to make a choice too. So I honestly might have to put it up to a wheel spin, but I almost feel like I prefer Gionta. But I will leave that up to you guys. Who should be the starter? And we could probably still bring back Mathers, like I said. From a defensive standpoint, we also have to make decisions based on the fact that we do need to pay Drew Bell a lot of money this offseason. I was kind of hoping we'd have cap space because of the fact that Narena and stuff should have retired by now, but Bell's asking for $12 million, which is quite a bit. Now, he does have organizational interest again, which is also a good thing, but he's also going to cost us a lot of our cap space we have left. I don't know if I could bring back Bell, potentially. We could maybe get him for 10.65, but if I can't afford to bring him back, I might have to move McLeod back to defense. Aside from that, Hutton is an RFA, so we'll easily be able to bring him back. Tulipov is a pending UFA. There's a good chance he could be gone just because Bell's going to cost us a lot. One of the goalies is going to cost us a lot. Tulipov wants $8 million. So we are definitely going to lose a bit of depth to our defensive core this season, or this offseason. Segal and Sagan could come back potentially as depth options. That's not a terrible option. They don't really want an extension, so I'm not too sure if they'll come back, but just a heads up on that. Young is not too important. The AHL is just in general not super important. Right wing side of things, we do also have Doig, who's a pending UFA, so this is another one that's going to be relatively expensive. He wants $9 million? Oh my goodness. I don't even know if I have the cap space to bring everybody back. Like, I could drop Doig's contract down by 2 bars or so as well, which is nice, but still you're looking at $8 million for Doig. Reefers is an RFA. What else we got here? Delisle. He's probably going to want still like close to 5 mil. Ooh, 6 mil. Wow. Well, we are definitely not going to be able to bring everybody back in. There's a high chance that this team drops off a lot this offseason if we do lose a lot of guys. So that's kind of scary. I mean, Doughty could make the NHL and replace Delisle maybe, but aside from that, yikes. Centers, Hansen's in RFA, so at least that's good. Kopitz, what does he want? $3 million as a 79. Yikes. And then there's Stillman, who's an RFA. Everybody else is okay. So this offseason is going to be relatively pricey, and we need to make decisions. I'm not too sure on who's going to come back for sure. I want Bell back because he's really good. But if we can't get him back, Tulipov's not a bad option as that replacement. If we lose Tulipov, obviously Bell should be re-signed. If we lose Delisle, then we probably could bring Doughty up from the AHL, basically, my guess. And I'd like to try and hold on to the bottom 6 potentially. And then from that goaltending perspective, I honestly have no idea. But I think one of these goalies has to go, or else we're going to probably end up losing Bell for sure. So we need to definitely prioritize one goalie, and I'm not too sure who. All right, so that's the contract situation anyways. Final thing we got to take a look at briefly is the draft class. It doesn't matter too much at this stage, so I'm just going to barely skim through it, but we're drafting 29th overall. Let's just take a quick look at what's going around that point and also based on potential. But hey, there's a franchise sniper this year, apparently. Interesting. Not that we're a bad team right now, but we might end up being soon. Like, I think we could end up missing the playoffs if we make the wrong decisions this offseason. Yeah, this draft class is not looking very strong, so I honestly don't even know if I cared that much about it at all. Ooh, okay, this guy looks good, though. 1 year out guaranteed. Christopher Peterson, we'll pin him. That definitely could end up being a selection, okay. Rudolph Nold actually looks good, too. Okay, so there is some guys that might be actually almost NHL caliber. There is a low-lead offensive defenseman, which is right in my wheelhouse, but he's 3 years out. At this time, I don't know if that's going to make an impact. Timo Ranta. Looks like a pretty good couple steals maybe around here. So we do have maybe some decisions, which is good. But in general, I don't know if it's going to be a strong class for us. Just based on where we're drafting. So yeah, Zigomanis is the only guaranteed lowly, but he's a few years out. Damn, an American playing in Quebec. I don't think I've seen that very often. Alright. But yeah, I think our selection in the first round has to be between these guys. Peterson's 1 year out. Zigomanis is 3 years out. Nold is 1 year out. And Ranta is probably like 3 years out. Or 2 years out, never mind. So this guy's probably got a higher overall. This guy's probably like a 65. So this guy's probably like a 68, 70. And then these guys are probably like 74, 73. Not too sure exactly. But we might be able to get some prospects that could make an impact potentially. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to one of the last off seasons of this franchise mode, because I think we only have maybe 3 more off seasons to get through, which is pretty insane. And we'll obviously try and maintain the roster as much as possible, but we are definitely going to end up losing some players this off season, which is going to be rather unfortunate. We could always buy out people if we really want to, but at this stage, I'm not too sure if I really want to buy out somebody that should wrap up their career with this team or not. But it could make our chances of being a better team right now still good. So it's up to you guys on all that type of thing. But let me know that below, and I'll see you guys next time.